This video will cover navigation and system travel. Evochron features a full precision open space 3D navigation system. As such, the functionality of the system may seem intimidating at first, but with just a few basic principles and a little practice, handling its open space 3D navigation options usually become easily manageable. To access the navigation console, press the F1 key or click on the navigation button in the upper left part of the heads-up display. Your ship's current location in space is displayed here under Current Position. The in-sector coordinates are shown on the left side, and the sector coordinates are shown on the right side. The nav map itself is located in the middle of the console menu, and your ship's location in the current sector is displayed by a green arrow, shown here on the map. In the default top view map mode, the green arrow also points in the compass direction your ship is facing. In the lower left corner of the navigation console is the quadrant location icon, which provides a quick visual indicator of your current position in the Evochron quadrant, which is displayed with a green dot. The indicator will be visible when the mouse pointer is not over the map. When the mouse pointer is over the map, the quadrant location icon will be replaced with location details for where on the nav map the mouse pointer is highlighting. The destination position is displayed here and indicates the coordinates for the location of the current selected waypoint. Again, like the current position values, the destination position displays the in-sector coordinates on the left side and the sector coordinates on the right side. If the current waypoint is in range of the nav map, the location will also be displayed by a yellow X-shaped icon shown here. Here is an overview of how locations in space are organized in Evochron. The game's universe is divided into cube sections called sectors. Sectors use the SX, SY, and SZ coordinate values displayed in the current position and destination position sections of the navigation console reviewed earlier. Sectors are organized numerically from the center of the Evochron region, with Sapphire located at 0SX, 0SY, and 0SZ, which is displayed on the quadrant map here. Each sector consists of 200,000 units of width, height, and depth, using X, Y, and Z values as coordinates inside each sector. The center of each sector box is 0x, 0y, and 0z. Left of center will be negative x, and right of center will be positive x. In the default top view mode, up from center on the map will be positive z, and down from center will be negative z. So the far left of the sector will be at negative 100,000 x, and the far right of the sector will be at positive 100,000 x. 200,000 units total, with a range of 0 to negative or positive 100,000 units in any direction from coordinates 0x, 0y, and 0z. The y coordinate is the height position, and you can adjust that with the rear view option. So to find a specific point in space, you can use the SX, SY, and SZ coordinates to establish the sector location first, then the X, Y, and Z coordinates to establish the exact in-sector location. However, most of the time, you'll likely be managing in-sector coordinates, since sector coordinates are generally only needed to initially travel to a more regional location. Your ship's direction is displayed on the compass at the top of the screen. 0, or virtual north, is moving forward and positive on the z-axis. 180 is moving backwards and negative on the z-axis. 90 and 270 are negative and positive on the x-axis respectively. Pitch determines your direction on the y-axis. Below 0 is negative, above is positive. Pitch is indicated by the ladder displayed with the gun sight in the middle of the screen. The navigation map displays icons for detected objects within sensor range. Each icon represents a specific type of object, including the gray icon here for space stations, the purple icon here for jump gates, the icon here for asteroids, and the spherical icon here for planets. Planet icons can also have smaller icons on their surface, indicating available cities to dock at, and are displayed with a green plus symbol. The city icon with green brackets indicates the main trade city on a planet. Objects that are small, masked, or cloaked generally can't be detected by nav sensors, so they won't be displayed on the nav map without higher precision scanning equipment, such as sensor stations and probes. To place the destination nav point on the map, simply left-click on the location you want. The yellow X-shaped nav point marker will be set to the location you click on, along with the X and Z in-sector coordinates being set to the same location. You can see the X and Z values automatically change when clicking on different locations. For added precision, you can also click on a particular coordinate value in the destination position display to manually type in a numerical value. As mentioned earlier, the default orientation of the nav map is an overhead view, referred to as the top view. This lets you see the objects in the area from above their positions, looking down with the x-coordinate range running left to right and the z-coordinate range running up and down. For the y-coordinate range, which is the elevation factor, click on the rear view button here. This rotates the map forward so that the perspective changes to view the objects in the area from behind. The x-coordinate range is still left to right, but the y-coordinate range is now displayed running up and down. So from this perspective, you can set the elevation level of the nav point. You can see that the objects on the map are all pretty close to the center of the sector, at the same elevation. And the ship's current location is now displayed with a green dot, rather than the arrow displayed in the overhead view. I'll now return the map to its default overhead perspective by clicking on the top view button. For this next section, we'll review the zoom options. You can adjust the zoom factor of the in-sector map using the zoom in and zoom out buttons here. These buttons change how many sectors the map displays, from 1 up to the maximum nav sensor range. You can also simply use the mouse wheel to change the zoom level. As you change the zoom level, the range in sectors will be displayed here at the lower left of the navigation console. 1x is the shortest range for maximum detail and spacing. 33x is the maximum for the longest available range. The zoom options also let you automatically center the nav map to a different sector. To do this, simply hold the mouse pointer over the sector you want to zoom in on and center the map to. Then use the mouse wheel to zoom in on it. The nav map will zoom in one step at a time, centered to the sector you select. You can also optionally snap zoom to a sector. To do this, simply right mouse click on the sector you want to fully zoom in on. The nav map will zoom in at the closest 1x range level and center the map to the sector you select. This provides quick access to any sector in range, and you can then also zoom out from the selected sector as desired. The zoom options also work in the rear view map mode. While we have the nav map in the rear view map mode, we'll cover an important element in open space navigation. In open 3D space, objects can be above or below your sector position. So for some objects, you may need to adjust the nav point to a sector above or below your current sector location to reach them. Again, SY is the coordinate value needed to select the vertical sector. You can see here that I can set the nav point to a location that is 2 sectors below our ship's current location. If I flip the map back to the overhead perspective with the top view button, the nav point I just selected 2 sectors below is still visible because the zoom level is still 3x. If I flip the map back to rear view, I can zoom in on the sector with the nav point I selected. You can see that the destination position value for the SY sector location changes to -2 to match the selected sector. Now that I've centered the nav map to the new location, you can see that zooming in and out causes the objects above the selected sector to disappear once they are out of range of the lower zoom level and fall outside the map. And they become visible again once the zoom level is increased to bring the objects back in range. If I return to the top view mode at a 3x zoom level, the objects remain visible. But if I now zoom in to a shorter range, the objects again disappear as they fall outside of the map. But it's merely because they've fallen outside of the selected zoom range level. So they will reappear once I set the zoom level high enough to bring them back in range. The same principle applies when selecting object icons. For this example, we'll select an object icon that is outside of our sector location vertically. The sector we are in is empty, but if I zoom out, you can see an asteroid icon appears for an asteroid field that is outside of our current sector location. To determine where the asteroid field is relative to our location, I can flip the map to rear view mode. Now we can see that it is above our position by 1 sector. Our SY position is 0, but the asteroid field is at SY1. If I return to the overhead view, the object icon remains in view. But as before, if I attempt to zoom in with our current location as center, the icon disappears when I zoom through it and it falls outside of the selected nav map range factor. So once I zoom out again, the icon returns. If I left click to set the nav point near the icon's location, the X and Z coordinates will be aligned with it, but the Y coordinate location will remain on the SY plane we are currently at. So if I switch to rear view mode, you can see that the selected nav point location is still a sector below the asteroid icon's location. To set the nav point to the icon's location, I simply need to first place the nav point inside the same sector as the icon. With the X and Z values already aligned, All I need to do is left-click on or near the icon while in rear view. Once the nav point marker is fully inside the same sector as the asteroid field, I can zoom in so the map will center itself to the new selected sector location. And I can now right-click on the asteroid field icon to lock the nav point directly to its location. If I flip the nav map to the top view mode, we can see that the nav point is now locked directly to the asteroid field. With the map now centered to the asteroid field sector, our ship's current location is outside of the 1x map range. So if I zoom out, the green arrow indicating our ship's position comes into view. And I can flip the map to rear view to see the vertical location difference with the map now centered on the asteroid field's icon rather than our ship's location. At this point, I can engage the jump drive to travel directly to the asteroid field. It will be important to keep this concept in mind as you travel through the game's universe and encounter objects that are one or more sectors above or below your ship's position. I'll now recenter the map to the original sector our ship is currently located in. We'll now cover the waypoints menu. The options in this menu let you manage nav points, also referred to as waypoints. The first option is the autopilot button, which will automatically direct your ship to the currently selected nav point. If the location is more than a sector away, the autopilot will also engage the jump drive to reach the distant location faster. The ping button will send a generic signal to the entire sector to broadcast your location. When clicked, a green box will appear on the nav map at your current location. This can be a quick way to inform other players in other factions of your location in multiplayer. The map log button gives you access to a list of waypoints you can save for later retrieval. Stored waypoints appear on the list, and you can hold the mouse pointer over an entry to view more details about its description and location. You can then left-click to select a location and set the nav point to it, or right-click to delete an entry. You can also optionally hold the Alt key and left-click on an entry to move it to the top of the list. Map log entries will appear as blue X-shaped markers with numbers below them on the nav map when in range. To store the current nav point to the map log, click on the Add to Log button here. You will be prompted to enter a description, then after you press Enter, the location will be saved to the log. If you are at a location you want to set the destination nav point to, click on the Set Lock button here, which stands for Set Location. The nav point marker will then be placed to where your ship is currently located. Next, we'll review the Local Points menu. This menu gives you quick one-click access to primary objects of interest in the sector. Simply left-click on a button to set the nav point to the object's location. For planets and moons, the system will automatically place the nav point next to the object at a safe distance in the direction it is at relative to your ship's position. Below the Local Points menu is the Location display, which shows the coordinate position the pointer is currently highlighting on the map. You can see the in-sector values change as I move the pointer around over the map. When zooming in and out on the map, you may want to quickly recenter the map to your current location. To do this, simply click on the Center button at the lower right of the navigation console here. This will lock the map's center to your current sector location. The Map Controls menu provides you with options that affect how you view the map. We've already covered the Zoom buttons and Rear View button, so we'll continue with the Slide View button next. The Slide View mode can be accessed whenever the zoom level is at 1x, and lets you slide the map around using the pointer. Once activated, simply click and hold the left mouse button anywhere on the map, then move the mouse around to slide the map to a desired location. This provides a way to smoothly pan the map around to anywhere in nav sensor range at maximum spacing and detail. Once you've panned the map to a location you want to set a nav point to, make sure most of the sector is in view, then click on the Select Mode button here. The map will then be centered to the selected sector and return to its default selection mode so you can plot a nav point. The 3D mode lets you move the map around in a three-dimensional perspective for yaw and pitch. Simply activate the 3D mode, then click and hold the left mouse button while over the map and move the mouse around to rotate the map. Full mouse wheel zoom controls also work while in the 3D viewing mode. With this option, you can view the relative positions of various objects in 3D space from angles you select, rather than from only directly above or behind. Click on the Select Mode button to return to the map's default selection mode. Finally, the Zoom Map button will magnify the entire map to 200% its original size for finer nav point and object selection precision. The quadrant position indicator will also be increased in size by 200% for improved detail and visibility. The rear view option and quadrant map mode buttons are also available in this view, and you can simply click on the normal map button here to return the map to its original size and restore all of the navigation console options. The Map Modes menu lets you activate the full text mode using the Text On button here. When activated, object description text will be displayed on top of the map and will be color-coded to the type of object it aligns with. In systems with more than a few objects, the text can become fairly cluttered, so you can filter out much of the displayed text details using the button here to toggle through each category. You can also optionally zoom the entire map to space the text out further for improved visibility. After returning to the standard map size, you can click on the highlight button here to restore the default text mode for the nav map. In the highlight mode, text details about an object are displayed when you hold the pointer over an object's icon on the map. The quadrant button activates the quadrant map mode, showing basic location information for the charted systems in Evochron. Like the in-sector nav map mode, your ship's current location is displayed with a green arrow, and the current nav point is displayed with a yellow X-shaped indicator. Green highlight bars also help indicate your ship's current location in the quadrant. As you move the mouse pointer over the various charted systems, a green box will appear around the system on the map, and regional territory and econ tech values for that system will be displayed at the bottom. While the quadrant map shows charted systems that are stored in the navigation database, the local nav map mode shows objects picked up on nav sensors that are generally within 33 sectors of sensor range, and you can transfer data from the quadrant mode to the local nav map mode to view basic details about a charted system remotely. To select a charted system for remote viewing, simply hold the mouse pointer over the charted system you want to retrieve details for. Then right-click to transfer the stored details from the quadrant map to the local nav map. Once you've retrieved the details and have activated the nav map mode, you can zoom in to view the details of that system. To retrieve details about stations and cities in a system, you will need to travel to those systems in order to scan them at closer range with nav sensors. Stations can be detected several sectors away, but cities are well masked by planet atmospheres, so you'll generally have to be in the same sector to retrieve location details for them. If you're viewing basic details of a charted system remotely and want to recenter the map back to your current location, you can use the center button again here to restore the system details for the system you are currently in and center the map to your current sector location. You can also left-click anywhere on the quadrant map to set the sector coordinates in the destination position menu to that location. However, you'll usually want to use the quadrant map for viewing regional territory status, regional econ text status, or basic details about charted systems remotely. The transpose button here will transmit your position to other ships and multiplayer in the message log. It is a quadrant-wide broadcast that any player will be able to see. The nav map will also display the local econ tech level here, and the region ID number here. The territory control level for the current region is displayed here. For information on other regions in Evochron, first activate the quadrant map. You can then click on the territory button to view the territory control status of all of the regions in the quadrant. Red is enemy-controlled space, yellow is disputed, and green is territory controlled by the faction you were allied with. You can hold the mouse pointer over a region to view specific details about it. The econ tech level is displayed at the lower left, and the territory control level is displayed at the lower right. On the left side of the navigation console is a commodity value display, providing the values of each commodity type relative to the location you are in. The small line at the top of each listing represents the market value of a commodity for the region you are in. The large line indicates the current market value for the region you are highlighting with the mouse pointer. A market ticker is displayed below the bar graphs that scrolls through 2 commodities at a time for specific value comparisons. The Econ Tech button will display the economy and technology levels for the various regions. The market values of commodities are also displayed in this mode. You can click on the Nav Map button to return to the default local nav map. The Form with Target button will engage the autopilot in formation mode to keep your ship next to the current targeted ship. The Launch button will engage the jump drive to travel to the current selected nav point, if in range. At the edge of the nav map are scroll buttons, which let you scroll the nav map one sector at a time. You'll likely find the snap zoom option to be faster and more efficient at selecting a nearby sector, but the scroll buttons can also be a quick way to move the map to a nearby sector one at a time. The scroll buttons also work while zoomed out, so you can see other nearby sectors as you scroll the map around. If you lose track of the center position on the map, or just want to reset the map to the sector you are currently in, you can click on the center button here. Lastly, I'll engage the jump drive to travel to the current selected nav point using the launch button. Using the navigation system will take some practice, so you may want to spend some time in the field to practice using it in friendly space before traveling to other systems. That concludes this video. For more information, review the instructions included with the game and visit Evochron.com.